Streaming. What's up, everyone? Happy, what is it, Sunday? Sunday. Got my Gibson here. Couple announcements. Just got back from LA yesterday. I did 3 interviews. If you follow me on Twitter, if you don't, you should follow me on Twitter or Instagram. You will have seen I got to interview Daniel Lanois, the legendary producer of things like Peter Gabriel's So, The Joshua Tree, Unforgettable Fire, Octung Baby, Wrecking Ball, Emmylou Harris, Robbie Robertson, Neil Young, Bob Dylan. He produced everybody and all these classic records. Peter Gabriel, Us. And then the day after, I interviewed Butch Vig, another iconic producer who did Nirvana Nevermind. He did Smashing Pumpkins Gish. He did Siamese Dream. Records of people that I've interviewed on my channel recently, which is really cool because then you get kind of a different side of the story. And this is the first time that I've veered off into interviewing producers. And I also interviewed Robert DeLeo from Stone Temple Pilots. So all these interviews will be coming out soon, plus some other ones I've been doing. And I've been promising you some what makes this song great. Billy, do we have people in the chat or what?
I can't see the chat.
I don't see anyone in the chat here.
I can't even type it in.
Okay, there's people in here. If there's people in the chat, let us know. Type in there. We don't see the chat for some reason. That's weird. But that's okay. Can you go on your phone and look, Billy? Is that what you're doing?
Oh, but that's it.
Because like to know that people are there. I see people are here. I'm just going to assume that you're...
It popped up now.
Okay, just popped up. I can't see you. Billy will relay any questions that we have. But I'm going to talk about... I'm going to extend the Beato bundle sale again because I am. All my educational products, that's my Beato book, which is, I'll just read off what they are. So this is like this is all for $99, 77% off. It's a $436 savings. My Beato Book Interactive is my music theory course. It's got hundreds of audio examples, basically audio examples for everything. It has video lectures, it has video explanations of things, a 500-page PDF that comes along with it. These are all digital, done through download licenses. Okay, my ear training program has 80 video lessons and hundreds of interactive modules. A lot of the stuff that we're doing today is going to be like I've done lately with the Dire Straits and with Duran Duran. We're going to talk about some theory, and we're going to do ear training in these things. Ear training has hundreds of interactive training modules to improve your ear. It has my Beato Beginner Guitar course, and it has my Quick Lessons Pro, which is really kind of like an intermediate to advanced guitar course too. But they all talk about theory. They're all video courses, and which to me is the best way to learn. This is what I wish that I had when I was growing up. But one of the reasons I want to talk about Aerosmith is that people, I think of Aerosmith as a ballads band from the 80s or 90s, and Aerosmith of the 70s was a very different thing, and that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about some classic Aerosmith songs and go over the theory of them, because they're really, some of these are really weird, and this is what when I was growing up, these are things that made me want to learn the guitar. I didn't play guitar when I heard these first Aerosmith songs, so I would just play air guitar along with them. And my brother Lou played guitar first. He had an electric guitar, and he'd turn on his stereo speakers, and he kind of noodle around with stuff. He knew some chords and things like that. My brother John and I, who ended up playing, would sit there and watch him, and then we'd sneak into his room and try and mess around with his guitar and turn on the stereo, although we never could figure out how to make it work. But he rigged it up where he could actually play along with records through his stereo system. So I want to talk about some of these songs and kind of the theory behind them and how to figure them out. The first song, and you go back and you look at how big Aerosmith is, even to this day. I looked on Spotify. I have to admit, I was shocked. 22 million monthly listeners. 22 million. That is amazing. And they have so many songs with hundreds of millions of streams. And Billy told me that songs like Dream On, we'll start with that one. We're going to talk about 4 different songs here. Dream On, which has over 800 million streams, Billy just told me is a meme song.
Not that it's bad.
No, that this is probably why it has so many streams. That there's a lot of young kids that listen to it too. You guys all know this song, right? This chord progression. So, what is, hold on. Now, back then, I never thought about this. It just sounded cool. I didn't think, what is that? And I didn't know it was played on a keyboard. I thought it was played on a guitar. So when I picked up the guitar and I started learning it back then, I just learned it, I didn't realize that Steven Tyler was playing it on a keyboard. I just hunted around till I found what notes they were, right? It lies far easier on the keyboard than it does on the guitar, but you can play the chords on the guitar. The song is in F minor, starts with an F minor triad, but it's not in root position. It's actually a second inversion root F minor triad. So it starts with the note with a fifth, so it's fifth root third of F minor. So if you have an F minor chord, that's an F minor triad. Now, when I was figuring it out, the first thing I did using my ear was I figured out that note, then I added the second note. Then I was like, I hear that note there, then I hear that note. Then I said there's a drone that goes on it. This note. That note C that's a C minor chord, then we'll talk about that. Okay, this chord here, if you think of it all over F, that chord would be like a D minor 7 flat 5. And then this chord here, if you think of this, that would be a C sus2, but this is a sus2 with a flat 9. Now these kind of triads like this, I have a huge set of listening examples in my ear training course that goes over how to figure out triads. And they're not just triads in root position, it's triads in all their inversions. And that's really the key to figuring out songs, because a lot of times songs are not, chords are not in root position, meaning their bass note isn't the root of the chord. If it's an F minor chord, the note F is in the bass. If it's C minor chord, the note C is in the bass. This chord here is F minor, but the lowest note, the bass note, is note C. It's not F. That note F is there. So that's called a second inversion chord. And why is that important? Because it helps you play songs correctly, okay? So this, figuring out this intro, and there's so many, that little half step there. This scale, that sound I hadn't really heard before, except in Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper. You didn't have a lot of stuff like that. The people that had those notes in their music, Queen used scales like that. Blue Oyster Cult did. Aerosmith did. A few bands would use these notes with the things out of the harmonic minor scale, different minor scales that you wouldn't necessarily hear And then everybody used inverted chords, though. This was really part of the genre. This inversions have been going on since the beginning of time, but inverted chords, meaning chords that have notes other than the root as the lowest note. If we take this F minor chord, so here's F minor, root position, first inversion. That's second inversion, and then it goes back into root position, and it repeats. So those are our chord inversions, and let me continue on with this here. Every time that I look in the mirror, great melody over these chords. These lines in my face getting clearer. But you hear the bass. The past is gone. So that's really over F. So then, if you say, okay, well, the bass player's playing F, what are these chords really? Well, it's F minor, then it's C minor over F, and then you've got, that's an F minor 6 chord, and then you've got, that would be more like a, well, this would be an F minor, this would be an F minor 6, this would be an F minor with a flat 6 and the 9, F minor 9, flat 6, okay, sound. So, so the bass note, what the bass player is playing, influences what the sound of the rest of the thing are. So it's like dusk to dawn. Isn't that the way? Everybody's got the dues in life to pay. Yeah, I know nobody knows where it comes and where it goes. I know everybody. So this is So then the song goes into a classic. If we're in the key of F minor, which we are, 1, flat 7, flat 6, flat 7 to 1 chorus. Those are really the main things. And there's a lot of other moving lines in the song to talk about, but but being able to figure out the basic chord progression and what the inversions are to play it correctly is really important. And this is a thing that you developed through training your ear over time. Now, there's another great Aerosmith song. I want to talk about a few different ones. That is a one that Steven Tyler always talked about. There's a couple songs that are some of his favorite ones that I've read in interviews. One of them is this. This is off Get Your Wings, off the second record. And this has just an absolutely killer guitar riff in it. This is another one I figured out right back when I was a beginning player. It's called Seasons of Wither. And I loved it because it uses all these different inversions. You'll eventually get to it. Nowadays, you would never have an intro like this. Here we go. Fades in. Hear it? So it's like a so basically we're in G minor, okay? Listen. And then we go from D to C. If you think about this, That's really a modal sound, okay? This would be more like G Dorian that you're hearing right there. You're definitely in G minor, but when you introduce this D major and C major chord in there, it's really a Dorian sound, okay, to the ear. You got, so you got this B flat, we'll say B flat major, it's like a B flat 6. Then it goes to C, and then it goes to D there. And I love this when it goes F to E for this into this picking part. Then you have the F sharp there. A little bit out of tune because this. Okay, so okay, so we've got. I love that. It's so out there, and so you're hearing these, all this stuff from G Dorian, but then you have key change. Then this is F6, and then to F6/9, and then D over F sharp, D over F sharp to G5 or G major. I love that. Then so he's going like a C to G over B. And to build up, just like the intro. The colorful nature of this song, that it starts in G minor, and then you have this this part. I just love that. It's just beautiful with these inverted chords, and then you get I think sometimes they might go. If you notice that, that's very much like Black Hole Sun, actually. Right? Think about Black Hole Sun. They I want to say Chris Cornell uses that. Look. Oh, that's where you use that. Just use that chord shape. I think it's beautiful. Great sound. I love that sound. Seasons of Wither, killer part. This is and this type of guitar playing that this really helped me when I first started learning. This is called flat picking, right? It's picking patterns but through chords.
Super chat.
What is it?
Rick, what is in your super bundle and how do I get it? Will it help me with theory? Greetings from Holland.
It will help you with theory. So in my super bundle here, matter of fact. I've got my Beato book, which is my music theory interactive course. It's a video course with a 500-page PDF. It's got video lectures, video examples, and audio examples for all the hundreds and hundreds of things that I play in it, right? To demonstrate how all these chord progressions work. Things. Then my ear training program, once again, is a video course with a interactive training module with hundreds of interactive training modules to teach you to hear these things. It's like, how do you even figure out stuff? Well, you do it by improving your ear and being able to recognize. And I always come back to this thing, which I call a vocabulary of recognized sounds, and that's what you want to develop. When I hear this chord here, right? When I hear that, I'm like, not only is that Seasons of Wither, but that's Black Hole Sun. Or maybe it's like this. When I hear Black Hole Sun, I know exactly where that's played because I'm like, oh, that's just like Seasons of Wither, that one spot, just that one chord, you know? And it's taking these things and relating them to other things you've already learned and being able to recognize them when you hear them over and over in different contexts, right? When I hear and I like, that F minor chord is the same shape as that C minor chord. So when I hear and Roxanne, right? Those are all triads. Does that work out? Yeah. So it goes, uses this G minor because it's in G minor, D minor, then it goes C minor to F sus2, and then it goes to G sus. This would be C sus2, B flat sus2, C sus2, but it really has G in the bass. Those triads, those are all, a lot of those are inversions, right? This is an inverted chord, root position, root position, root position. This is would be a sus2 chord in root position there. But that's really G minor chord, but this little top half is a C sus2. This is what this drills, is how to hear all these things, right? These are how these triads are related. These are in many thousands of songs. They're in pop songs on the radio now. They've always been there. But knowing where these things are on your guitar, on the keyboard, it's all the same thing when you're hearing this. With my ear training course, it will play you things like, what is this? And you'd be like, that sounds like a minor chord, but what inversion is it in? Well, let's see. It sounds like it's got the third as the lowest note. So that would be in first inversion, and you would be right. Then you hear this, that, and you say, well, that has well, that's the fifth of the chord. So that's in second inversion, if the fifth is in the chord. And then it has that as the lowest note, and you know that that's in root position. Okay, so this is really how you figure out things and become a better musician, is to develop your ear and hear these things, kind of instantly know what they are. And I also have my beginner guitar course in there. So if you're just a beginner and you want to know how to learn songs, just basic chords, how to strum along with things and learn bar chords. A lot of these songs, these things are a little bit more advanced, although I do talk about how to play triads and triad shapes. Probably not these chords in Dream On. These are a little bit more advanced. But this will give you an idea of how to play bar chords and most of the things you need to play all of the basic songs that you want to play. And then, of course, my Quick Lessons guitar course is more of a lead guitar for lead guitar ideas, but also has all the theory ideas behind it. Okay, if you watch my Quick Lessons or anything. There's one other song I wanted to talk. There's a couple other songs I want to talk about on here. One of them is this song, You See Me Crying. I've talked about this on my second channel on live streams a couple times. This is the last song off Toys in the Attic. This song really knocked me out when I was a kid, and it still does. Once again, those are keyboard parts, but they can be played on the guitar. You notice this is funny, right? Steven Tyler's playing all this stuff on keyboards. The guitars are laying out, but you can do these. You can approximate them on the guitar, right? Let me do it again. This song is so great. It's the last song in Toys in the Attic. And then they do that little you know, now on the keyboard, you're just doing that grace note. You're going for the D, D sus2. You're going D to E on there, which is a very common move to do. On the guitar, it's common, but we're gonna do it here. But this. Let's listen on. This has an amazing arrangement. Love that, Sojo. You see me cry. E over G sharp once again. Then the second time it goes into the chorus. Listen. And you have that, hear that. But that's a keyboard lick, right? You see me cry, yeah. I love that. Joe Perry or Brad Whitford that plays right along with that E over G sharp chord. It's amazing. You see me cry, yeah. Say you're a ladies' man. You see me cry, yeah. So hard to understand. Honey, what you done to your head? Honey, what's the words I say? Now there's a lot of because there's a keyboard in there. So the first time in that chorus, he does a B flat over C or honey, what you done to your hair? So melodic. love it. It's kind of like Live and Let Die a little bit. The bass follows it. You hear that there? It's amazing. So good. Tom Hamilton. So if you don't know inversions, chord inversions, you cannot figure out this song. To figure out a song like this, so back then when I was first playing guitar, those chords were not in Mel Bay books. This... And then, you know, and it's it changes every time too. He doesn't do the same thing. And there's so many different inversions. I mean, it's one thing that it's played on piano, but the songs can be played on guitar. Just like songs that you hear today on the radio that have keyboards and things like that. They can all be played on the guitar. They can be played on the keyboard. They can be played on any instrument. You can play them on a marimba. But what you have to be able to do is you got to be able to figure out what you're hearing. Yeah, you can go to YouTube and look at tutorials, but wouldn't it be great if you actually improved your ear and could just figure out the stuff instantly? To me, that is the real key. That is the reason that I developed my courses. My Beato book, which is now interactive with videos, I started back when I was teaching college. Back in 1989. I wrote the book in 1989, and never in my wildest dreams did I think I would have audio examples and video examples with lectures in it. Oh my God, it would have made my life so much easier, because I would go into class and into my lessons and I would write the stuff down all the time. And every student was at a different level and they needed different things. All my guitar students, I was on improv class, whatever it was, arranging, everybody needed different help. And then the ear training thing, when I taught ear training, every single person in the class was in a different spot. And so he was like, and you couldn't tailor your lessons to them. And that was the frustrating thing, that some people would just get lost. Come on, all of you know, if you've gone to school, it doesn't matter whether you've gone to college or you're in junior high or anything that you're watching this. You know when you get in a class and you're just like, I don't get this. And you can't get the special, extra help that you need to learn the stuff. And, so I did this remedial ear training course, but never did I think that there was going to be this thing, that the internet, and I would be able to make courses or make videos like these, like the videos that I put out, or go live stream in front of thousands of people. These live streams get hundreds of thousands of views. And that you can do this stuff and teach people this and build courses that have training modules in them to train people to hear chord inversions, added note chords. Is it a C sus? Is it a C add 9? A C add 9 would be a chord like this. A C sus 2 would be that. Well, they sound pretty similar, Rick. Well, you hear that da. That note E there, da, or you hear da. That's a C sus 2. That's a C add 9. The only difference is the C add 9 has the note C, D, E, G. C sus 2 only has C, D, G. Okay, but hearing the difference between those is big, and you want to be able to hear the difference between those. Okay, and if I put E in the bass, then I know that. Well, what is that E doing in there? Well, that's a first inversion. C add 9 chord, right? You got E in the bass, then you have your C, D, there's your sus 2 with your G, your 5th, then you got your 2 again and your 5. So all these things, right? Being able to recognize what note of the chord you're playing, and am I hearing the right bass note? Just in this thing, Those kind of things are common when you hear those A minor, G, F, really easy. But when you're hearing G to E over G sharp. That's a first inversion E major chord. First inversion, second inversion, first inversion, root position. When I hear those, I know what they are. If I heard the chord like this, I'd be like, oh, that would be a, this chord here, that would be a first inversion E7 chord. And you're like, well, where would you use that? What about, that's a sus chord, G sus chord. F sus to F, C sus to C. That's Angie by the Stones. You could only figure those songs out if you had a great ear. And that was the thing when I was a kid, just noodling around to play them, because there were no books that taught you that stuff. Nothing. You had to be able to just pick it off the record. And sometimes you knew guys that would teach them to you or whatever, but most of the time you were stuck to your own devices by dropping the needle on the record. Now they have training. Now they have training modules. Now I have training modules that you can learn this stuff from. So just go to rickbeato.com, buy it, improve yourself as a musician. There are many Aerosmith songs back in the era of the first album. Then you have Get Your Wings, you have Rocks, you have Toys in the Attic. Those records, a lot of people know Permanent Vacation. They know the later records that have a lot of the big 80s and 90s hits on them. But these records are just brilliant. Aerosmith, young Aerosmith there, and their first few records, man, just song after song after song, great song after great song. Every song on Toys in the Attic is great. Every song in Get Your Wings, amazing. Every song in it's just absolutely brilliant. The self-titled first record, brilliant. So that's my lesson for this week. Good to have your guitar with a guitar tuner too, or learn how to tune. In my beginner guitar course, one of the first things I do is teach you how to tune the guitar if you don't have a guitar tuner. That is actually an important skill because it develops your ear as well. Don't discount that. When I was interviewing Daniel Lanois the other day, it was interesting because he got his guitar to play a guitar part and sing, and he picked up his Guild guitar, and he's like, "Oh, Neil Young played this for on this record," and he tuned using octaves. And he wasn't using a tuner or anything. He just tuned it up by ear, old school. And I laughed, and I made a comment to him. I was like, "That's so cool. Talk about that for a second, Daniel, about tuning the guitar that way." And he's like, "Well, yeah, I like to tune using intervals." And I thought that was so interesting. Old school, right? Where you actually use your ear to tune the thing and just don't rely on the tuner all the time. Anyways, that's my rant on that for today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You guys are amazing. Check out my Keith Jarrett video if you haven't. I did another video on how you can make it as a YouTuber, music YouTuber, whatever kind of YouTuber. I made a video with my phone. I called it how creators crush the music industry or the music business. And I filmed the phone, start here in the studio, and I walk around the park near here, and I just film it on my phone and edited it. And you can do that. You just hold the phone. There's wind noise and everything. Nobody cares. I mean, YouTube, this is a vlog. You just hold your phone and do it, or put it on a stand. You make your own videos. Just have to have a good story to tell. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and have the great rest of your weekend. We'll see you later.